Chapter 1. We are weak. I came into Norwich early this morning to spend the day writing. As I ordered breakfast in a local pub, the manager asked me what I was doing. So I told him that I was writing a book about weakness and how Jesus knows that we are weak and does not expect us to sort ourselves out before we come to him. He said that he reckoned it was a good subject because everyone who comes into his pub is fine. They all tell him they are doing well, and then sometimes they tell him the truth. My guess is that a publican hears a fair bit of the truth after a couple of beers. The truth is that we are barely holding it together, at best. We are weak, and our weakness is painful. Some of that weakness is obvious. We cannot hide the weakness of ill health, whether it be the grinding weakness of chronic illness or the terrible weakness that cancer brings, both in the disease and its consequent treatments. When it is family who are suffering, the weakness and confusion can feel even worse than when we are suffering ourselves. When those we love have died, the pain and grief often come with a sense of confusion and powerlessness. Our family and friends rally round us, as they know something of this suffering too. Or maybe they don't, and our grief is made worse by loneliness and isolation. When we lose our job or the bank takes our house, those around us cannot fail to notice how weak we are and how hard life is for us. Much of our weakness is hidden, though. I have been careful in how I have talked about the panic attack that I had, and I hardly know how to begin talking about the anxiety that lurks just beneath the surface. I'm not sure exactly what I am anxious about, although my worry may fix on a random item on my to-do list or an entry in my diary. Sometimes I feel so downcast and dejected that I struggle to get out of bed or do anything much when I've got up. Yet for me, these things are neither constant nor total. So my weakness is part of my experience, but not the whole. And that somehow makes it hard to discuss with friends whilst keeping some sense of perspective. Then there is the weakness that lingers on the borders between suffering and sin. On busy days when I have worked hard and still ended up moving 3 tasks onto tomorrow's long list, I finish by feeling overwhelmed, inadequate, frustrated with myself and anyone else I can think of, even with the Lord. I fight a rising anger that threatens to come out in cruel and unfair words to my children, or coldness and distance towards my wife. I sometimes feel as though Christ has loaded too much onto my plate. Sometimes I even tell him so and ask him for his help. Too frequently, though, I simply wish that I were better, that I were stronger, that I were more gifted, more disciplined, with a higher capacity to work and less need for sleep. I want to be more like other Christians I know who have everything sorted out and time for all the Lord has called them to do. They're calm and collected in the face of pressure and able to get far more done than I am before enjoying stimulating and creative rest instead of just slumping on the sofa. The strange thing is that I suspect that if you met me, you would think that I was just that sort of Christian too. Which makes me wonder whether the people I look up to and sinfully envy are maybe more like me than they first appear. I wonder if the pub manager is right that we all pretend to enjoy a greater strength than we have. Maybe we are like the man I read about, who had got so fed up with the effort of trying to develop a rippling six-pack through his workouts at the gym that he simply had one tattooed on instead. I smiled as I recognized something of myself in him. I am weak, and you are too. You are probably listening to this book because you feel the exhaustion and frustration of being a weak person in a world that loves strength. You are confused. You struggle to find a place when you see so many Christians and churches radiating calm, control, strength, peace, and joy.